Hi everybody, my name is Yaya Torres. I am actually from Brazil. I'm from São Paulo, from a small town called Sorocaba, but I live now in Ottawa, the capital of Canada. I do perform here at the local bar. It's my local bar, and I've been doing drag for 8 years.
Wow.
Although I'm only 12, I've been doing drag for 8 years now.
12. Must be all the
Yes.
business, right? Now, we talked a little bit earlier in the week, and I asked you a question, and you had a very good response. My question for you was, what is the most significant difference between living in Brazil and living abroad, being part of the LGBTQ plus community?
I think the biggest difference between being gay in Brazil and being gay here in Canada specifically is that we are safe. Of course, there's different things that we experience here, like being accepted and being free to be yourself. But the main thing of anybody is to be safe. We know that Brazil, unfortunately, today is the country that most kill LGBT people in the world. And just for you to be able to live your life and express your art, not only being a drag queen, but only to be a gay person, to be a lesbian, to be trans, and to feel safe, it's something that is priceless. When we're in Brazil, we don't realize that. We live our life kind of in fear, and we pretend that that's normal. And then when you get to a place like this in Canada where you can just live and be yourself, it's feeling safe and being safe. It makes all the difference.
It makes you feel as if you can breathe, right? It's like,
Yeah, it's literally you can breathe and you can be yourself and whatever, as long as you pay your taxes.
exactly. Pay your taxes or Justin Trudeau will be right on your ass.
Oh, he'll come. Yeah, his kids need backpacks for school.
And actually, this is very interesting what you just said, because this leads us to my next question. Earlier in the week when we were talking, you had mentioned about the Stonewall riots 51 years ago and what we are living nowadays in Brazil. Can you go a little bit deeper? Because I found this so interesting, the comparison that you made, because Brazil being the country that kills the most LGBTQ plus uh, people in the world, it's something absolutely absurd, right? So can you go a little bit deeper? Can you tell me your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so a lot of people don't realize that we, when the Stonewall riots started 51 years ago, it didn't start the gay movement. We already had a gay nightlife. We already had gay people living their lives and everything. The only thing is that they were not accepted by society, and they would be allowed to live their lives inside the club. You can be gay, you can be whatever you want inside that area where you're safe. But if you step out, that's when the cops would attack you and society would attack you. And that's what started with the Stonewall riot, and the whole pride idea came from that. Now, what a lot of people don't know is that unfortunately in 2020, we in Brazil, we still live that reality. Um, we have a lot of gay people that are free to be themselves inside the clubs. Gay marriage is accepted, but we still have people that are not allowed to step outside and live their reality. So for you to think that Brazil is literally living 50 years in the past when it comes to LGBTQ people rights, it's pretty sad. And that also brings us to realize part of our privilege. Even though we are a minority, even though we go through a lot in our lives, we do have this privilege of living in a place where we can be safe, where we can get married, where we can have kids and not be judged or not be attacked or not be killed in the middle. We're not even talking about bullying and prejudice. We're talking about people being killed in the
Killed,
streets,
right?
broad daylight. So that's something that we need to, I always say that I live my life for those that could not live theirs. So for
Exactly.
those people that get killed in a club, for those people that get killed, we have seen this week, 8 trans women have been killed in the U.S. on the last 2 weeks,
Exactly.
and they were killed just for being themselves. So I need to live my life. I have this responsibility of living every day for those people that could not live their lives.
And it's completely absurd because the majority of these trans women in the U.S. are Black, and we are living in such a moment where Black lives matter, and we're seeing these Black trans women being murdered, 8 within a week. That's wow, there's no ways to, there's no explanation, you know, this is unacceptable for 2020. And this is exactly why we have Pride. People think that Pride is just a huge party. People think that Pride is a chance for us, for guys to take their shirts off, to go to a club, party all night, you know, celebrate who you are.
In a certain way, it is like it needs to be a party. It needs to be a celebration of life. It needs to be a celebration for all the rights that we did get already, for all these people who died 30 years ago alone in a hospital bed, so we could have HIV medicine available for everybody, for us to be able to get married, for us to be able to do everything. So we do need to go out and celebrate. But it's still, every year we still have a lot to fight. We have our fight. Our kids are going to have their fight, unfortunately. And we have, you mentioned the Black Lives Matter. We have the All Lives Matter movement in 2020. So you see the reality that we live today. Not only people need to fight not to be killed, but then there's someone that comes on top of that and say, hey, well, what about us? Like, it's, you have to defend your right to live.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And it's,
and then this is very interesting what you say, because this is when politics come into the question, right? What are they doing to protect us, right? They're not doing much to protect us. Okay.
And it's not only politics. We need to think about everything as a whole, because when Pride comes and all those business put their Pride logos up and the parade floats and all that kind of stuff, like, what is the work that they do with the community throughout the year? Because those huge banks and corporations, they're the ones who put the politicians there as well. Exactly. But what are they doing for us throughout the year? How are they representing us? Because we are giving them money, we are electing them. We need to start choosing people that are going to fight for us. And
here in Brazil, we have the famous expression, pink money, right?
Yes, the pink money, the pink money.
This is a reality, right?
It's always going to be a reality. People are always going to go where the money is. And we, as a community, we need to look at who is there with us when the bricks need to be thrown. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Now let's go to our next question. Question number 4, Yaya. What do you think the best word is to describe you? Describe how you feel when you are in drag. How do you feel when you are in drag?
Pain.
Why does it get pain?
Pain. Pain is the word. It's amazing when drag queens say like, oh, I'm free and I can express myself. Pain is the word. But I also like to say that pain is the word because it shows how much love you put into it. You know what I mean? A lot of people suffered in the past for us to have the right to put on a dress and awaken here today. So like, it needs to hurt, it needs to put effort, you need to show that you care and that it's not easy to be here. I believe that drag queens, they have such a great space in the community, but also they hold a responsibility. You know, when the pops burst in, we're the ones in the front. When the questions need to be asked, we're the ones asking and raising the flags. Exactly. So yeah, pain it shows the effort and the love we have for what we do.
And it seems as if every time we go to a nightclub, the drag queens are always the most fierce, right? So I think that they are very protective. I think that they are not afraid to necessarily show what the gay community is. You know what I mean? The queens enter the club and it's like, wow, there's our freedom, you know, like they're here to represent us, you know? And every man who enters into a gay nightclub to watch a drag show, whether he be gay or hetero, he loves it. He can't deny it. We know that straight men love watching drag.
Oh, honey, when we show up with this glamour, they love it.
Yeah, who wouldn't, right? They start going with their wives.
Because we can't hide. Like, we live like this. There's drag queens, there's trans people, like the gay boys, when something goes on, not all of them, but you can hide and you can go back to be yourself during the day. When push comes to shove, we are the ones who are there and we can't hide who we are. So we need to put our faces there in the front of the community. So the drag queens are going to be there to celebrate your birthdays when we need. The drag queens are going to be there to remember someone who left us too early. We are going to be there to fight the fight with the cops when we need, and we're going to be there to celebrate when we need. So I believe that we are the face of the community, but also it takes a lot of hard work to represent and to earn this community.
Lovely. And my last question before we go to your wonderful performance is, what is drag to you?
I think drag has different ways of explaining itself to different people. To me, is me being free to be myself and me expressing my art. Some days I'm happy and I want to express that. I use a lot of my drag and my numbers to share a message of how I'm feeling or something I believe at that moment. But it's funny that I use drag to share a message. So like we're fighting for Black people's rights. We're fighting for trans lives. We're fighting for things that actually matter. So if I can use my body and I can use my art to show this and to send a message, and in the end of the day, if one person comes to me and say, "Hey, that touched me inside," I'm done. My job is done. I saved a life.
Exactly. And it is your job, right? You said that you were
Yeah.
able to make a career out of this, which is wonderful because we know how hard it is to do this, right? Especially here in Brazil. A lot of people have difficulties. They have this talent, but they simply can't pay their bills simply from drag, right? Which is different from you. You were able to make a career out of this. So this is something that makes me extremely happy. I know that you have drag daughters. So guys, this is Yaya. And now we're going to go to her live performance.